guess the easiest way to start it would be to ask contractor, and Wright-Pierce, what's next? What are you guys gonna be working on next?
Right, so what's the proposed schedule? What's the,
So right now, Rangers are proposing to mobilize April 1st, which is what was stated all along. The shutdown would be until April 1st. It's going to take them about a week to mobilize, so tentative start date would be the 8th. As far as actual schedule or location, it's pretty hard to lock that down right now since the DOT covenants have failed. So I think really, we're at this meeting, I guess, is going to get to be a roundtable of what is the plan moving forward with the culvert replacement and where and how does Ranger and the DOT work together or around each other to do that. I think I would assume that the town would request, and we're already prepared for that, and to meet that no work takes place on Aquasit Road while 127 is closed, and any traffic is diverted on Aquasit Road, and we would not be on Aquasit Road. I don't know what the expectation is as far as the road being posted and all that anyway. I think right now the only reason Ranger needs to be on that road is to get a little bit of pipe that's left into the laydown yard at Billy Reed's out of there. That can be done with just a small flatbed that they transported pipe around from one end of the job site to the other last year.
so Nate, can we just interrupt for a minute?
Yep.
There's been some new developments here.
Right. Anyone who doesn't know, 127 is now back open.
Okay.
We've gone in, we've done some work, put some steel plates in, paved out on the shoulder, everything's up. We've got it open to one lane, alternating traffic signal control.
Yep.
And with that, we plan on running that until Doug gets the project. And I'll look at Doug with schedule, and we have accelerated that schedule. I won't say aggressively because that understates it, but whatever's more aggressive than aggressive.
That's right. So right now, we are working on the plans. We're in good shape with the plans for that replacement. We're hoping to meet one of our milestones in the next 2 days to get past our preliminary milestones that we have to get by and get it to the chief engineer for review. But right now, what we're hoping to do is advertise on 3/27. It would be a 1 week advertised, and that may get some pushback from contractors. Sometimes that doesn't work out so well, but that's what we're hoping to do right now. We have an award date. Bids would open on 4/3. Contractor award date would be 4/5. Construction begin, a tentative right now would be 4/8. And then, of course, it would be closed while we're in there working. And we're looking at allowing for a 15-day closure, just as we had stated early on through our teaming process and through our VPI that we put out a while ago for this one. Then construction complete around 5/24. Now, like I say, that's Dave just said, all the stars align and everything goes perfect. And of course, that doesn't take into account weather or anything else that you have to deal with. So, but we have been having conversations with the Bathwater District, Wright-Pierce, trying to figure out, what would work best for us too. So we are trying to work this out so that, because they've got work that they've got to do there as well, to be able to get the water line underneath those pipes that are there now, or the new pipes. So there may be some type of scheduling that we can work our way around here and try to keep the closure to an absolute minimum amount of time, but still be able to get all the work done that we need to get done, both us and the water district.
So Doug, you and I have been talking over the last couple of years on this, and I may know some things that, obviously this whole thing's accelerated, and we're not going to have the public hearing process and all the things that typical. Can we just take a minute? Can you update everybody? I mean, is it still a 7-foot pipe? Is the road? What are you proposing now?
Okay, so basically what we're proposing, we went away from the 7-foot pipe because that lifted the road, or to get the elevations that we needed, a little bit too much. So we've gone with an 8-foot 1-inch span by 6 foot 1 inch high aluminum plate pipe arch that we're putting in there with head walls and wing walls on it. So we've narrowed everything right up to minimize our impacts out there. So the structure's gonna look a little bit different than what we had originally proposed, but it works better for what we wanna do. It's gonna raise the road about at the culvert and kind of subtly of the culvert about 2 feet. Okay, and we've brought in all the impacts at this point, so we're right in tight so that we are trying to stay out of all the wetlands, and we're also trying to stay out of any right-of-way issues so that we can make this thing go fast. Get out there quickly. It will be about 150 feet to the north, that area, but those are basically a transition to get back to grade there. So overall, it's about a 600-foot road project with a replacement culvert for the culverts that are there now. And we typically don't do these types of structures, as we've talked about before, but with the Station 46 bridge coming out, it's going to change some of the flow into the estuary, but we've still got the railroad area that's in there, the causeway, the culvert there, that's going to slow down the flow. But at some point, down the road someplace, if because of climate change and any rise in sea levels, all of that would change even this location as well. So they would impact this location as well. So we've looked at a lot larger culvert to go in there, probably maybe even a span bridge or whatever. Many of these climate change projects will look at a lot of different options on them in the future, especially ones that have something to do with any additional tidal flow in those areas. So this is a repair. It's going in. We're trying to minimize impacts and put in a structure that will last long enough, maybe until the next cycle of any type of rise in sea level. So that's where we're at. That's pretty much what we're going for right this second, to try to get out as quickly as we can. I have talked to our contracts people there. They say they can get it out next week, which is good. We have a lot on their plate right now too as well. We thought they could squeeze it in, so we'll see how that works out. But again, we need to talk schedule here, because waterline folks have got stuff to do too. So.
I have a question. So thanks for that update. So does that include us taking the culvert out at the bottom of the George Wright Road? That increase, because that will increase flow. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's part of the impacts that we're talking about. It's just going to keep moving upstream, basically.
Right. Okay.
Over time. We looked at some really large. REV folks was telling us a very large box culvert in there. But even that, they can't give us a real accurate hat elevation, highest astronomical tide elevation. And without having that, you can spend a lot of money and maybe not do what you want to do. So that's what we don't want to do there, if we can help it. Some areas, like I said, it's going from a culvert to a span bridge in some of these areas that are impacted by climate change.
Did that used to have a span bridge there?
I understand there used to be a box culvert there, some type of concrete bridge culvert there at one time. Yeah, I did that.
I was told by an old resident of town of Woolwich that at one time there was a bridge.
Yeah, I think they actually put a comment in the VPI. I haven't got the notes here with me, but they were one of the people who commented on it, said there was at one time some type of.
Is the change in the wetlands at the bridge site where they've opened up and opened up the waterway there, is that going to affect the height of the water on their Middle Road?
Eventually, but you still have the railroad causeway in there, the bridge is holding things back right now.
You're limited by the 2 holes in the railroad, right?
Exactly.
There's two, yeah, right. That's what will.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, that's what ultimately will restrict flow or whatever.
Exactly.
All right, so moving forward, how does, Nate, go back to you?
So
So,
we've also met with the DOT a couple of times, Terry Blair and Matt, and we've talked about just that, what the schedule is gonna be to replace the culverts and how can Ranger work, in advance of the culvert replacement to try to get some of the approach work done, to just maybe flop the section of fused HDPE in there instead of the directional drill, with the same pipe, would just be open cut dig rather than the directional drill, if that works with schedule, along with working in that same 600-foot zone and try to get that whole section done so that the DOT can finish not only the culvert work, but raising the road and the repavement there. So again, we have a meeting tomorrow morning at 9, but without walking down some of those details, it's pretty hard to say where we're gonna be able to start. If the culvert is out and 127 is closed, Ranger's cut off from the laydown area, that's north of the Quasit Road, so to go all the way around is adding a lot of time and effort onto that end. And obviously, with traffic diverted around the Quasit Road, we don't expect to do any work up here until the culvert in this project with the state is complete. And besides, potentially from the culvert north to the corner of Quasit Road, but still only on Middle Road.
There's about 400 feet left on the Quasit Road from
Yeah.
the substation to the corner.
and
And
then you
there's
gotta-
a hard ledge there.
yeah, and you gotta cross.
And we gotta cross.
We got to cross, and it's about 1,300 feet from the corner
Right.
to the culvert.
But essentially, if the state's gonna fast track the culvert and include the full 600 feet of that road, that has to be our priority first, which would put anything happening on the Quasit Road again back off to until this project is complete, which puts it closer probably to when school's out and hopefully things dry out a little bit.
But obviously, so from the town's perspective, if the road is opened up to one lane alternating traffic, and, yeah, I'm just thinking here.
Yeah.
It says a 4/8 rough start construction date possibly, Doug, right? So
Yeah.
you would try to sneak in and get that in, but then you'd be shutting Middle Road back down again, right?
Not us, the state's gonna shut the middle road.
No, I'm talking about before.
When you cross the
No,
road.
so are you saying like start April 1st or something, or April, like immediately?
I think the timeline would be that Ranger could start on April 8th also, but probably start
In conjunction?
on the south end of that culvert and start working towards Bath. And get that 400 feet to 600 feet of road that's gonna be redone, get the new pipe laid there.
Until they shut the road off.
Right, and then work together with whoever that contractor may be to hopefully get the pipe underneath the culvert.
I see.
And then while the road is still shut down, could work from the north side of the culvert to the corner of the Quasit Road.
I see.
Then by the time the road's open, they can go back to business as usual as far as have a crew potentially on the Quasit Road or continue to lay from that point where they stopped south of the culverts and keep working towards town, and then having the crew that worked on the southern end of the project continue to work north towards the Quasit.
So what we're hearing though is no work on the Quasit until this culvert.
I don't think it's reasonable. I think between
Yeah.
the fast schedule that the DOT is gonna try to get the job done anyway, and what little time we have in between when we're not even mobilized, it doesn't make sense to do the job.
We would have another one lane.
And as long as traffic's diverted on this road, it's too messy to try to have one more construction crew in there.
Yeah, one last quick thing. So at the end of it, you talked about the hard ledge. I forget who was talking. You were, right? So are you going to be blasting the next 400 feet? You did some home ramming last fall, but
So it's my understanding that we can't blast by the substation because of
Vibration.
overhead power.
Yeah.
Blasting is not out of the question for other remaining ledge, but I would say the bulk of the blasting took place last season. There are still some areas of ledge that we'll have to address.
yeah, there's quite a bit more on Middle Road, right? Coming up through those sections of.
There are some sections.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
Yeah, so thank you, for all of this. So if you guys are working, I don't know if you need, south of the culvert,
Yeah.
how would the trucks get there? Go through the one lane, open on Middle Road, not in Quasit?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
And it's still a bit of a moving target because we've had a couple of quick meetings and we've got another one tomorrow. In concept, we talked about putting the road closure back in place on the 8th so that they can get in and do their work around the culvert, and then it would transition into the culvert replacement project.
Yeah, and we move our schedule out a little bit so that they would get out of the way, so our person got in there a little bit and got started. Which, then it would stay closed over a period of time, but it would at least, it would be something to be going on out there and work would be getting done and things would be moving along. And, you know, without traffic out there, it helps them that much faster on theirs. And lifting the road a little, the much as we're gonna lift it out, it reduces the digging going in the southerly direction, which helps as well for the installation of the water line.
What is the current anticipation date of final for the water project? I mean, is it expected to take all summer, September, August, October?
I don't remember what our substantial completion's at right now. I want to say it's August.
Yes, and so I guess once this culvert thing kind of jumped up, this meeting was going to happen, and so we met with Dave last week. The select board did, and we obviously were relaying concerns about the paving and the final. You know, I think, you know, we've received a lot of complaints. There was a lot we learned last year, a lot that hopefully you folks learned last year. You know, traffic and the way things went, and so I don't even know where we start with this. Do you want to start?
No, I just like to provide it for the Gloucester Road.
Yeah, I mean,
That's basically my concern, is that down road.
we know you did, you know, temporary paving.
Yeah.
We know we talked about this, that, and the other. It appears, you know, we had an email from you folks that said that when it's done, don't worry, we'll mill and pave, right, or something like that.
Yeah, so our obligation per the contract is 11 feet. And all of the binder that went
9
in.
feet.
Sorry?
It was 9 feet.
So 9 feet? 9 feet of circle. 9 feet. Sorry. 9 feet of trench surface. All of the binder that went in last fall was within our parameters for acceptable final pavement. The surface was not. It got cold on us at the end of the year. So the agreement that we had with Ranger was the areas that were outside of that criteria needed to be milled out and surface paved. And the intention would be to do that at the end of the project, to provide, you know, we've let it weather through a winter, you know, freeze-thaw cycle, and we feel that you're gonna get the best product at the very end of the job to do the surface within our trench at the end of the season.
So you mean late summer, in the late summer?
Yep.
The idea is to take all the, except for the 2 full width paved areas. You have 2 areas that were done with paver, 2 full widths, there was 2 full width road paving areas. So everything else was to be milled and 9 feet out and then repaved.
That's, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong.
Right, the two sections that were damaged from blasting that they did the full road with
Yeah.
was done ahead of time. That is final pavement.
Yep.
But the trench is gonna get milled and relayed.
The entire thing, from the school right to the,
I believe so.
yeah.
I think it was all temporary.
So what do you, when you mill, do you expect to go through your pavement into your gravel base material?
Oh, no, we're gonna mill out 1.5 inches.
And
Just
the
surface.
pavement's thick, I mean, I'm jumping around, but on the middle road, you know about the pothole that we communicated about.
Yeah, yeah.
So like in that area, that's temporary paving
That's
too.
temporary. That's coming down to your base.
Right, and so that'll get two layers of pavement?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, that's, we were just trying to, like, it appeared on the Nequassa Road places, we weren't sure, you know, we were just asking, but is the pavement thick enough, are you gonna mill through and get into, we just, based on what we may have seen or not seen.
Yeah, so all of the pavement on Nequassa Road is 4 inches per our spec.
Right now?
Correct, right? Yes. Yeah.
Switching back to the Quashnet Road for just a minute, the substation, are you gonna coordinate with CMP about that? Because I know they're in there working on that thing quite a lot.
I think it would be foolish
You
not
let them
to.
know when you're in front of it or whatever, so that in case they do need access.
We're on the other lane anyway, we're not blocking access.
Across the street.
You don't by chance have a contact for them, do you? For the substation?
Knock a pole down, you'll hear from them real quick.
1888.
I will give you, before we leave, I'll give you the supervisor for the Brunswick office.
Yeah, we can certainly keep them in tune as the schedule's firmed up.
And so the other thing we talked about, or you'd sent to us, is, so after this pipe is removed from the area on the Nequassa Road, there'd be no more I mean, we know you're gonna do the water line, the remaining water line section, but no trucking across, no, I mean, obviously last year trucking went across Nequassa Road beyond, back to Route 1, dump site. I mean, all of it.
Understood. Yeah, so we have our laydown yard up on the north end of
Yeah, water district,
beyond
yeah.
Quasset Road. And aside from a couple sections of pipe and a couple spoil piles, which the plan would be to kind of smooth those out, and once that pipe is gone, I don't believe the plan would be to utilize that laydown yard after that point.
You're still gonna be dumping in the industrial park, though. That's where most of that stuff went that you didn't reuse. Went over into the industrial park over here, so it came across Nequassa, down Route 1,
Right.
and back across.
I can't speak to that.
We won't be going across the Quasset Road at all, period. No matter what.
Because that
Other
was
than to put
obviously.
400 feet of pipe in and get our pipe out of the laydown, yeah.
Jack, are you still within our road closure, but road posting?
Until Friday.
Till Friday, okay. Yeah, so.
Well, yes and no. We're posted till Friday for the spring posting.
Yeah.
But the Quasset Road has been posted for 23,000 pounds
Yeah.
for last year.
For through traffic, right? Through truck traffic.
Yeah, so like we said, we have pipe stored at that original laydown yard that we'll need to access at some point, which means a flatbed and a loader with forks.
Set of forks.
So we'll need to coordinate that at some point.
Dave, is there anything you'd like to add about we talked about 127 last week, you heard some concerns maybe from the board, and anything new going forward? I mean, there's one cross, isn't there a cross trench going in at 128? There's a hydrant going across, right?
Yep.
On the opposite side. I mean, is there anything that you,
Well, certainly for Wright-Pierce and Bath water perspective, one of the things that the state did hear a lot of complaints about ride quality and whatnot. And one of the things that we have decided to do is before final, we want to go in with our paving folks and do a ride quality check. Send it back out there. And certainly you can ride it now and see where it's bad. Honestly, the stuff we did from Route 1 up, that was all final. Ride's pretty good. Northbound, if you're southbound, you get a couple of thank you mans in the cross trenches, which obviously, you know, and certainly once we get into the temporary paving, well, surprise, that rides like crap. That kind of what we expected, right?
Yeah.
We could have told you, we could have predicted that, both predicted that last fall. And that's acceptable. Like I said, it's not every utility job that we do, but there's been enough concern on this one that I'm gonna have my paving guys come in with a 10-foot straight edge, and they'll measure, and it's like, they do their whiz bang stuff and let us know what's what.
Yeah.
Certainly, one of the concerns that was raised is, as things went, things seemed a little iffy, and of course, we're gonna reach out to Wright-Pierce and Bath Water, the permit holders. Ultimately, you guys are the ones responsible. So if there are issues with traffic control, if there are issues with compaction, you guys are gonna get the call. Hope is that that's not an issue. And of course, with the state, there's a 1 year after completion. We'll be back out and riding it again on, I guess, August of 25.
So, August 24. Oh,
Well,
1 year.
1 year after, 1 year after completion.
Oh, okay. To get it the chance to settle?
Hopefully it doesn't.
All right.
well, yeah, because I think the work plan is to pave, to do pavement work next year. Somewhere, right?
Yeah.
25, I think I saw that, 127, is that for repaving?
It may be, I'm not sure, that's a regional program, the LCP.
Yeah, I mean, it's listed that way.
The Dretford,
It'd be like
yeah, the whole
having-
thing.
It's listed the whole thing, 128, 127, and then, but obviously you've got another structure.
I know 128 is, I'd have to double check on 127. Because I know we're hitting 128 hard this year with ditching and culverts and all. We need to get ahead of pavement on that.
Yeah, I saw both. There was, what, a couple $100,000 for ditching and pavement on 127 and a couple hundred for 128. And then, but you have your other structure to put in, right?
Yeah.
And that's still for next year?
Yeah, that one, there was two structures within this one project number, and we're actually gonna pull that one out and separate it out, because we do need environmental permits there. We can't stay within the wetlands or within the right of way there to be able to put that structure in. That will be a 7-foot diameter, 5-inch culvert up there.
That's the one that's
The dip.
north of,
Yeah.
further north, okay.
In the gully there.
Yeah.
We've ordered that pipe as well. We pre-ordered both culverts here. They're scheduled for delivery on 4/1. So they'll be going to our West Gardner facility and then picked up by the contractor. But we'll have the other one sitting there waiting in case something goes wrong at the other one. So we're ready. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess, maybe I'm slow with it. I wonder, why wouldn't you finish the Wassett Road pipe? Now, I understand the detour, whatever it is, but I mean, while you got the breaking traffic and so on, and you're right there, why wouldn't you bring it up? It's 540 feet out to the middle road.
What breaking traffic though?
Well, no, you're gonna have a one lane down on 127, right?
Right, I just assumed that with the extra
And I just
traffic.
thought it would slow down anyway.
Well, one, we anticipated that you would leave the posting up a little longer. Two, I anticipated that with the added traffic on the cross road because the middle road was shut down, that we would just stay out of the way altogether. Just make
Well,
it
I
more
was just
sense.
thinking that if that was finished, we could get that, maybe that would pay you back
If,
to a final.
So
so
the
you're saying you'd rather see the cross road final pavement done sooner?
I'd like to
rather
see the
than
Wassett
later?
Road, I'd like to see the Wassett Road done, and the contractor's off it. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Okay, so we learned something today, though, because you didn't know about the one, so that can only happen if it was done before the middle road gets fully shut down again.
Right, and I
And
don't
so-
think we have the
Right,
time.
that's what I mean.
No, and that's
I don't
the
think we have the
thing,
We
window.
don't have the time.
there's not time enough to do that, so.
We could certainly focus attention to that area after the culvert's addressed and take care of that, if that's the preference. I mean, we just kind of assumed you want us to stay away from there because of the culvert replacement.
Well, it is, if you go by the timeline Doug laid out, if you say a 4/8 start date, I don't know what day after that the road gets closed again. Obviously, it's true, you can't be putting in water pipe, have one lane road, have middle road shut down. I think he's thinking that,
All I'm thinking was to bring it up to the middle road.
yeah, right,
And get off the Wassett Road.
Right.
Pave the Wassett Road and be done with it out of there.
yeah.
I mean, my only concern in this deal is, from my perspective, is the town road, as well as the safety for others, something in 127. I just thought it might get us a way to get out of that, David.
Certainly something we can discuss and agree.
So, I just thought if you're gonna move a pipe out, you're gonna, traffic's gonna be slow because it's one lane and you get off the Wassett Road.
As Nate mentioned, we kind of have our hands tied as far as getting access to material because of the location of our laydown yard when the culvert replacement is taking place. So there may be an opportunity to focus on the north side of the culvert.
Can't do both, can't move pipes out and do the work at the same time.
It's a trucking thing, getting all your bedding material and such, or, from our laydown yard. Especially if you want to stay off Nicholas roads.
Yeah, I do. There was a lot of living there last year that wasn't planned on.
Right.
And we know you guys had difficulty and so on. But we would rather not entertain that again.
Yeah. So once the culvert is finished and we're back open, one of the concerns that was raised, and you probably heard it also, is that continuing to work on Middle Road. You know what the traffic's like at 3:30. Is there any thought to sort of juggling your work schedule so you would be done before the shift change?
I don't think there was any complaints as far as traffic during that time. That time we were making concessions as far as the traffic control, having in-person flaggers versus the unmanned lights that we did during the shift changes. And I think, especially the further that we got away from Route 1, that I think traffic flowed fairly well through there.
Yeah, thanks.
Anybody have anything further?
I just wanted to bring something up that the last meeting that we had, we were promised by Ranger that any damage that occurred to anybody's vehicle, that would be taken care of. And we still have a resident that has gotten no resolution from Ranger getting her vehicle fixed. And I know I had a conversation with, and I sent an email to Nate and Bill and Les, and what I was told was that, you know, it was put on social media, you want your car fixed, drive down Fawcett Road or Middle Road. This lady is looking for 4 new tires, which is not the case. She's looking for 1 tire and 1 rim to be repaired, and she's getting nothing or any response from Ranger. And I'm kind of wondering where we stand on that.
I turned all of the complaints over to my insurance company. I can find out tomorrow.
That'd be great
I
if
would
you could
appreciate
follow up.
that.
That would be great.
That's why we pay for insurance for these
Yes.
things.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
If it helps at all, I can tell you they were great on another project where I had damage.
Yeah.
Call, explain, boom, done.
With your wagon, your car?
Yeah, private vehicle.
You better remind me, with your position, you better remind me.
Yeah, I know, right?
There was, the people I talked to didn't know me from Adam.
Who don't know ya?
So I guess we learned a lot today, and there's still some things to iron out after tomorrow, or whenever you have these meetings. And Sean, you got anything you want to throw in for the sheriff's department or any?
Do we plan to continue? I really liked the weekly schedule.
I will continue the weekly updates
That would be
as soon as
great.
Ranger mobilizes. So
Okay.
after April 1st, I'll send a weekly update every Friday to Kim, and she can.
Okay, thanks.
I guess I will throw one more thing out there. The legislature has changed some of the laws, and DOT has been able to reduce the speed limit in our work zone all for ages. And in fact, on 127 now, we have a work zone reduced speed limit of 35 in the area of that culvert. That is being extended to utilities. Things are in progress. So certainly, I would urge you to consider that moving forward if it's appropriate for this project.
Would we do that with electronic signs, or would we have to put?
The static signs. Static signs in.
Is there an application process to do that, or?
And that's, the details are still being worked out, but there have been a number of outreaches made to utilities and whatnot. Certainly that may be beneficial to everybody, particularly the contractor. We've got guys out there with people going by them quick.
Yeah.
But I think it's beneficial to the residents as well.
That's great.
So as that comes out, consider it.
Okay. If there's nothing further, we'll move on to our regular select board meeting.